The champagne glass trembles in my hand, crystal catching the warm light from the chandeliers above. 200 guests fill the grand ballroom at the Ritz-Carlton, their faces expectant as my father, Thomas Morgan, taps his fork against his own glass. My mother, Evelyn Morgan, stands beside him, radiant in her silver gown, both of them beaming at my sister Ashley. As before we wrap up the speeches, my father announces, his voice carrying through the sound system. We have one more gift for our beloved Ashley and Stephen. The champagne in my glass ripples with each word. Something in his tone pulls me back to all those times growing up when Ashley got the bigger slice of cake, the newer bicycle, the better Christmas presents. But this is her wedding day. I force a smile, willing myself to be happy for my little sister, as many of you know. Evelyn Morgan and I have lived in our family home for 30 years, Thomas continues. It's where we raised our beautiful daughters, where we celebrated birthdays and holidays, where we built our life together. Evelyn dabs at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. I take another sip of champagne. My throat suddenly dries, and now Thomas pauses for effect. We want that home to be where Ashley and Stephen began their own family journey. That's why tonight we're giving them our 3-bedroom house. The champagne sloshes over my trembling fingers, cold liquid drips down my wrist as the room erupts in applause. Ashley squeals, jumping up to hug our parents, while Stephen grins, looking like he just won the lottery, which essentially he has. My mind spins back 6 years, sitting at my parents' kitchen table, checkbook in hand. Evelyn's voice thick with tears. The bank is threatening foreclosure. Rachel, we don't know where else to turn. The first check, I wrote $11, $300, then another, the next month and the next, working late at the marketing firm, taking on freelance projects, canceling my own vacation plans. When we're back on our feet, they promised, we'll make it right. 93,000 later, they're giving away the house, my house, the one I saved, payment by payment, sacrifice by sacrifice. The room spins slightly. I set down my glass and slip through the crowd toward the kitchen, needing a Evelynette to breathe, the industrial refrigerator's hum drowning out the celebration beyond the swinging doors. Rachel, Evelyn's voice makes me jump. She stands in the doorway, concern etched across her carefully made-up face. Honey, you going to congratulate your sister the house, my voice comes out barely above a whisper. You're giving Ashley the house I've been paying for. Oh, sweetheart. Evelyn waves her hand dismissively. You have that lovely little cabin in Colorado, and you know how much Ashley needs the space, especially since they're planning on starting a family right away. That's not the point. Heat rises in my chest. I paid the mortgage for 6 years, every month. $93,000. Evelyn now. Rachel Thomas appears behind Evelyn, his bow tie slightly askew. Ashley needs this more than you do. You've always been the responsible one. The successful one, you can afford your own place. The successful one, the responsible one. The one they come to when they need money, when they need help, when they need someone to carry their burdens. Never the one who gets the gifts, the attention, the house. I can't believe this. The words catch in my throat. You didn't even ask me. You didn't even tell me you were planning this. You're making a scene. Evelyn's voice carries that familiar note of disapproval. This is your sister's wedding day. My husband Daniel appears in the doorway, his presence steady and grounding. One look at my face and he knows. He always knows we're leaving, I say quietly. Rachel, Evelyn starts, but I'm already moving past her. Daniel's hand rests on my back as we collect our coats behind us. The party continues, laughter and music spilling out into the night. We don't say goodbye. There's nothing left to say in the car. Daniel reaches over and squeezes my hand. The parking lot lights cast shadows across his face, but I see the concern in his eyes. The silent support, the question haunts me all the way home, pounding in time with my heartbeat. If they could give away the house I paid for without a second thought, what would they take from me next with these thoughts, and in silence, just a few glances at each other as a sign of approval? We went back home now. The doorbell camera notification lights up my phone at 7:42 a.m. 3 weeks after Ashley's wedding, my parents stand on my cabin's front porch. 4 matching leather suitcases arranged behind them like soldiers in formation. Thomas rocks back and forth on his heels, hands jammed in his khaki pockets. Evelyn peers directly into the camera, her finger jabbing toward the doorbell again. I pull my coffee mug closer, the ceramic warm against my palms. The morning sun streams through my kitchen window, catching dust, mows in its beam, my sanctuary, my escape the home. Daniel and I chose together suddenly under siege. Rachel Evelyn's voice crackles through the speaker. We know you're in there, your car's in the driveway. The words stick in my throat. 3 weeks of silence after they gave away the house I saved, and now this. Daniel squeezes my shoulder as he passes, already dressed for work in his charcoal suit. Want me to stay? He asks. I shake my head. I need to handle this. My feet feel like lead as I cross to the front door. The deadbolt clicks heavy and final. Evelyn bursts in before I can fully open the door, trailing Chanel No. 5 and entitlement. Thomas follows, shoulders hunched, dragging 2 suitcases. Finally, Evelyn drops her purse on my grandmother's antique side table. We've been out there for 20 minutes. What are you doing here, moving in? Of course, she says it like she's announcing. She's brought muffins. We sold the house to Ashley and Steven, so naturally we need somewhere to stay. The room tilts slightly, naturally, while you have all this space. Evelyn waves her hand at my living room. Just you and Daniel in a 2-bedroom cabin. And you know what they say? Family takes care of family. Family takes care of family. The same word she used when she needed money for the mortgage, for property taxes, for new windows. The same manipulation wrapped in maternal concern. I need to show you something. My voice sounds distant even to myself. I walk to my home office, aware of their footsteps behind me. The filing cabinet opens with a metallic scrape. 6 years of bank statements spread across my desk like fallen leaves, $93,000 in mortgage payments, each check a sacrifice each month, a choice between their needs and my own. What's all this? Thomas peers over my shoulder. Every payment I made on your house, the house you gave to Ashley. Oh, Rachel! Evelyn's laugh tinkles like broken glass. That was just temporary. Help. We would have paid you back eventually. Really. I open my laptop, typing quickly, because according to your bank statements, which you still have me listed on, you've had over $40,000 in retirement savings this whole time. The silence fills the room like smoke. Thomas's face flushes red. Evelyn's fingers clench around her purse strap. How dare you snoop through our private accounts full of money while I paid your mortgage. My voice rises despite my effort to stay calm while I canceled vacations and work 60-hour weeks while Ashley drives around in a brand new Mercedes parked in front of my house your sister needs. Don't. The word cracks like a whip. Don't. Tell me what Ashley needs. Not anymore. I stand my chair, scraping against the hardwood. You're not moving in here. Not today. Not ever. Rachel Elizabeth Harrison. Evelyn draws herself up. Armor of maternal authority, settling into place after everything we've done for you. Everything you've done? A laugh bubbles up, bitter as coffee grounds. I think you mean everything I've done for you, and I'm done. You'll regret this. Evelyn's whisper carries more venom than a shout. Family is all we have in this world. No, the certainty in my voice surprises even me. Family is not an excuse for exploitation. Please leave. They gather their suitcases, the wheels leaving scuff marks on my floor. Evelyn pauses in the doorway, lips pressed into a thin line. You've changed. Yes. I meet her gaze. I have the door closes behind them with a soft click. My hands shake as I pull up the security app on my phone, changing every code. Each number feels like another brick in a wall I never wanted to build. I watch them leave then. Go to work with all the usual stuff, meetings, data plans. The work was over and I was directed back home now. Back home the sun is shifted, the late afternoon light painting long shadows across my floor. When the police lights flash through my window, red and blue strobes dance across the ceiling as the security alarm screams its electronic warning. The back door hangs open, wood splintered around the lock. I entered my house, then my kitchen phone pressed to my ear, listening to the dispatcher's calm voice. The question echoes in my mind, a haunting refrain. What would drive my own parents to break into my home in the distance sirens wail their answer? Red and blue lights strobe across my living room walls through the cabin's front windows. I watch 2 police cruisers idle in my driveway, their headlights cutting through the mountain darkness. My phone buzzes with another text from Mrs. Wheeler next door. They used a key to get in through the back. I call 911 right away. The gravel crunches under my tires as I pull up behind the patrol cars. 5 minutes later, Daniel is also home and he squeezes my hand before I step out into the cold Colorado night. A young officer approaches notepad, already in hand. Miss Harrison, we responded to a possible break-in, but the individuals inside claim to be your parents. They are. My voice comes out steadier than I expected, but they don't live here. They don't have permission to be here. They have waited for the whole day to do this, to invade the house. Quietly, the officer's radio crackles inside. I spot Evelyn's silhouette through the kitchen window, her hands gesturing as she talks to the second officer, the spare key, the one I gave them for emergencies, 3 years ago. The front door opens and Evelyn bursts out, tears streaming down her carefully made-up face. Even in a crisis, her lipstick stays perfect. Rachel, how could you let the police arrest your own parents? We had nowhere else to go. Thomas appears behind her, his shoulders slumped in that familiar pose of martyrdom, princess. This is no way to treat family after that wedding business. We thought it best to come work things out in person by breaking into my home. The words scrape my throat. Breaking in. Evelyn's voice rises to that pitch that always drew stares at restaurants, made people take her side. We used our key, her parents, for heaven's sake. She's abandoned us at our age with nowhere to turn. The second officer steps onto the porch, ma'am. Do you want to press charges? Evelyn's tears stop instantly. Her eyes narrow. She wouldn't dare. But I'm already pulling up the property records on my phone, hands steady as I show the officer this cabin is solely in my name. I have documentation of ownership, mortgage records, everything they're trespassing. Rachel, Jane, Harrison. Evelyn's voice could freeze July after everything we did for you. A laugh bubbles up sharp and unexpected. You mean everything I did for you, the $93,000 in mortgage payments, the vacations, I canned the savings I drained. Now, Princess Thomas steps forward reaching for my arm. Let's not air our dirty laundry in front of strangers. I step back. The motion feels like breaking chains. I want them removed from my property and I want to press charges. You can't be serious. Evelyn's mask cracks. Real anger bleeds through. Where are your parents? And that's exactly why I need the charges to keep you from doing this again. Daniel materializes beside me. Solid and calm, he hands a file folder to the officer, property records, bank statements. Everything we gathered after the wedding, just in case the next hour blurs into paperwork and statements. Evelyn's theatrical sobs when the officers escort them to their car. Thomas's heavy sighs and disappointed head shakes, but I don't break. I stand on my porch, Daniel's hand warm against my back, and watch the officers load my parents into separate cruisers at the police station. 30 minutes later, Evelyn's mask slips completely in the fluorescent-lit lobby. After everything we did for you, we gave you life. We put you through college. I worked 2 jobs. Through college, I paid my own tuition. The words flow easier. Now each truth a key, unlocking something inside me. And I paid your mortgage for 6 years while you hid 40,000 in savings. Her face goes pale. How did you bank statements, Evelyn? I saw the transfer records when you moved money for Brooke's wedding. The holding cell door clangs shut. I signed the last form, my signature strong and clear, and we went back home later in the parking lot. Daniel helps me arrange for a storage unit tomorrow. We'll change the locks, install security cameras, contact an attorney about a restraining order. The sun rose over the mountains when we finally crawled into bed the next morning. My phone pings with a message from Ashley popping up. How could you do this to them? But for the first time, the guilt doesn't come. Instead, I open my laptop and begin to type time. To tell the world what really happened. Every payment, every sacrifice, every manipulation. The truth rises like the Colorado sun, bright and unstoppable. My fingers hover over the keyboard, treming slightly in the soft glow of my laptop screen. Bank statements from the past 6 years fill my second monitor digital. Archive of Betrayal, each line item a knife in my back. I click through folders labeled by year, methodically taking screenshots of every mortgage payment. January 2018, $1,300. February 2018, $1,300. March 2018, $1,300. The numbers blur together. 93,000, my Christmas bonuses, my overtime pay, my canceled vacations, all of it flowing into my parents' mortgage while they quietly socked away their own money. Daniel. I call out. My husband appears in the doorway of our home office, a mug of Chaw Evelyn Isle tea in his hands. I need your eyes on this timeline. He sets the mug beside me, scanning the document I've created. The story laid bare in brutal simplicity. 2018 parents claim impending foreclosure. 2018-2024 monthly payments of $1,300. The 15th of June 2024 house gifted to Ashley at wedding. The 8th of July 2024 parents attempt break-in at cabin. My phone buzzes. Another message. Evelyn's post has racked up 50 comments in the last hour. Her carefully crafted narrative of maternal suffering, drawing sympathy from church friends and distant relatives who don't know the truth. Just look at what our daughter has done to us, she wrote. After everything we sacrificed, she's left us with nowhere to go. Please pray for a prodigal child's heart to soften. The comments roll in. Praying for you. Evelyn Morgan, children today have no respect. This generation is so selfish. I take a deep breath. Fingers steady now as they move across the keyboard. 6 years of documentation unfold in my response. Post-bank screenshots, timeline security footage from the break-in showing my parents trying to force their way into my home at midnight. Your parents called again, Daniel says quietly. Left a message about their lawyer. My phone lights up with another text. From Ashley, need to help them. This is getting out of control. I let out a sharp laugh. Now she texts. Where was this concern when they handed her my house? Daniel squeezes my shoulder. You okay? No, I save another screenshot, but I will be the notification chime. Sounds again. Evelyn and Thomas tried accessing my old joint account, the one I forgot to close after college. An immediate call to the bank freezes everything. The manager's voice shifting from professional courtesy to genuine concern. As I explain the situation, I hit post on my response to everything. 10 minutes later, the truth flows onto Facebook in clean, clear paragraphs, no accusations, no emotional pleas, just facts, dates, and dollar amounts. The reaction is immediate comments, pour in the tide, turning as reality crashes through my mother's carefully constructed narrative. Patricia, is this true? Those poor girls using one daughter while favoring the other, $93,000, and they had savings. My Aunt Susan, Evelyn's own sister, leaves a comment that makes my hands shake. I remember you bragging about that Alaska cruise last year, Pat said. You got a great deal on first-class cabins. Was that while Rachel was paying your mortgage? Another notification pings the church's prayer chain coordinator, Mrs. Henderson, Patricia. I'm removing you from the prayer ministry leadership until this situation is resolved. This isn't the Christian example we expect from our leaders. Ashley calls 3 times in the last half an hour. I let it go to voicemail. The first message is angry, the second defensive, the third trailing off into uncomfortable silence as she realizes there's no defense for what our parents did. Daniel brings me fresh tea and leftover lasagna. I've been at the computer for hours watching years of manipulation crumble under the weight of truth. My parents' social circle fractures as more stories emerge the time they borrowed money from their bridge. Club friends claiming medical bills, the fundraiser at church for Thomas's supposed heart surgery right after I'd paid for his actual routine procedure. Your father and I raised you better than this. Evelyn texts taking private matters public. What will people think? I screenshot her message, adding it to my growing documentation file. My fingers fly across the keyboard, muscle memory from years of marketing reports finally serving my own story. An hour later, the phone rings. Unknown number. Miss Harrison, a woman's voice, professional and concerned. This is Karen Douglas from Mountain Valley Mortgage. We've received an unusual request from Richard and Evelyn Morgan Harrison regarding the property at 1847 Oak Grove Lane. My heart stutters. What kind of request? They're attempting to refinance the house they claim to own. Your name appears on several years of payments, but they've submitted documentation indicating the money was a gift, not a loan. Given the discrepancy, I felt I should contact you directly. The room spins slightly. I grip the edge of my desk, knuckles wide against the dark wood. Thank you for calling. I need to contact my lawyer. Please don't process anything until you hear from them. I end the call, staring at the growing evidence file on my screen. 6 years of canceled checks, text messages begging for help, emails promising repayment, the wedding video where they gave away the house. I saved security footage of their attack on my home. A new comment appears under my post. Tyler Chen from high school. Rachel, I'm a forensic accountant. Now, if you need help documenting the financial abuse, let me know. This pattern is textbook financial abuse. The words hit like a physical blow all. These years I thought I was being a good daughter, the responsible one, the successful one, the one they could count on. Daniel's hand covers. Mine on the mouse. That's enough for tonight. Come to bed. I look at the clock, midnight. My story has been live for more than 10 hours, spreading through the community, like wildfire, burning away decades of careful manipulation. Evelyn and Thomas's foundation of lies crumbles with each new share, each revealed truth, each person stepping forward to say, they did this to me too. One more thing. I tell Daniel, opening a new document. My fingers move across the keys, typing words I should have written years ago. Dear Evelyn and Thomas, this is your official notice. I am filing a lawsuit to recover the $93,000 you obtained through fraud and misrepresentation. Your attempt to refinance the house using falsified documents has been reported to the proper authorities. Do not contact me except through my attorney. Rachel. I hit send, then close my laptop in the darkness of our bedroom. Daniel's steady breathing beside me. I finally let the tears come. Not for the money, not for the house, but for the daughter who spent 6 years paying for her parents' love, only to learn it was never for sale. My phone buzzes one last time, text from Evelyn. What have you done for the first time in my life? I don't respond. The red notification light on my phone blinks at 3:00 in the morning. Evelyn's voicemail plays through the speaker, her voice shrill with desperation. Take down that post right now. Rachel, or I swear you'll regret what comes next. Your father and I raised you better than this public spectacle. I press the delete button and sink back into my pillow. Daniel stirs beside me, his hand finding mine in the darkness. Another threat, the fourth one tonight. The ceiling fan whirs above us, staring cool mountain air through our bedroom. They're getting desperate the next morning. An email from Regions Bank lands in my inbox subject line. Urgent notice regarding mortgage application. My coffee mug pauses halfway to my lips as I scan the contents. Evelyn and Thomas listed me as a co-signer on a refinance application for their house correction, Brooks House, now the house I spent 6 years saving my... Attorney Jessica Thompson answers on the first ring. Those documents they submitted forged her typing echoes through the speaker. We've got them now. Rachel, mortgage fraud is federal territory. I needed to meet her in person, so I said I would prepare all the follow-up documents and go to her office. 2 hours later, I sit in Jessica Thompson's office surrounded by manila folders stuffed with 6 years of receipts, text messages, and bank statements. Every check, every desperate plea for help, every promise to pay me back once they were back on their feet. Your parents hid $40,000 in a separate account while you paid their mortgage. Beth spreads the bank statements across her desk, and that's just what we found so far. My fingers trace the edge of a check from 2019, $1, $300 the month. I canceled my vacation to keep their lights on. What now? Now Beth's smile reminds me of a sharking blood. Now we go nuclear. The cease and desist letter lands on their doorstep by 9. The next morning, the fraud report hits the mortgage company's desk by noon. My formal demand for repayment arrives at their lawyer's office before close of business. Their response comes through Ashley. She appears at my office downtown that same day, perfectly coiffed in a designer suit that probably cost more than 3 mortgage payments. You have to stop this. She perches on the edge of my visitor chair, hands twisted in her lap. They're saying they might lose everything. They already gave everything away. I keep my voice level, remembering the meditation techniques my therapist taught me. Or did you forget about your wedding present? I didn't. She stops, color flooding her cheeks. Okay, fine. I knew about the mortgage payments. Evelyn said you were helping because you wanted to, because you had so. Much more than me and the house. The words taste bitter. Did you know they were planning to give it to you? Her silence answers instead of her. I told her to get out, returned to the remaining work, called my lawyer again, and after the work was done, went home. We have arranged a meeting with my parents 2 days later at my lawyer's firm. 2 days later, the mediation room at Jessica Thompson's law firm smells like leather and lemon polish. Evelyn and Thomas sit across the heavy oak table, their lawyer whispering urgently in their ears. Thomas's country club blazer hangs loose on his frame. Evelyn's hands won't stop shaking. The evidence speaks for itself. Beth's voice fills the room as she clicks through a PowerPoint of bank records, text messages, and that final mortgage fraud attempt. My client demands full repayment of $93,000 plus interest. Additionally, she'll be pursuing criminal charges for the attempted mortgage fraud unless what Evelyn's voice cracks, unless you sign over your interest in her Colorado cabin, the one you've been trying to claim as a second residence on your taxes. Beth slides a document across the table. Sign this and we walk away. No charges, no repayment demand, just a clean break. Their lawyer examines the paperwork, his shoulders slumping. He leans over, murmuring something in Thomas's ear. Thomas's face crumples. You do this to your own parents. Evelyn's voice rises after everything we've done for you. Everything you've done. The laugh bubbles up before I can stop it. Let's talk about everything I've done for you. 6 years of mortgage payments while you hid money in secret accounts. 6 years of lies while you planned to give away the house. I saved. 6 years of manipulation, guilt, and gaslighting. We're your parents. Thomas protests weakly. No, I stand gathering my coat. You're the people who taught me that love shouldn't cost $93,000. Sign the papers or don't. Either way, I'm done. They sign the following couple of days. Word spreads through their social circle like wildfire. The country club membership quietly expires. Their church friends stop calling. Evelyn starts working as a receptionist at a dental office. Her first full-time job in 20 years. They downsize to a 2-bedroom apartment near the highway. Ashley keeps the house but loses something far more valuable. Respect her Instagram posts about family first draw bitter. Comments from cousins who know the truth. The Mercedes sits in her garage, a $30,000 reminder of what our parents sacrificed my money to give her. 6 months later, a certified letter arrives from my parents inside a single sheet of expensive stationery, bears my mother's precise handwriting. I curl up in my favorite reading chair by the cabin's picture window, mountain peaks rising blue and distant beyond the glass. The paper trembles slightly in my hands as I begin to read 2 days later after the letter came. The morning sun spills across my mountain deck, painting the wooden planks. Gold steam rises from my coffee mug as I watch a pair of hummingbirds dart between the feeders. Daniel hung last spring. Their wings catch the light, flashing iridescent green against the backdrop of snow-capped peaks. My phone buzzes with another booking notification, 3 more weeks filled for the summer rental season. The cabin next door cabin, really, but I've learned to share this slice of paradise, will host a retired couple from Minnesota celebrating their 40th anniversary last month. It was a writer working on her memoir before that a group of nurses who needed a weekend away from the hospital. Daniel appears in the doorway, laptop tucked under his arm, ready for our meeting with the architect. I smile, remembering the conversation that led us here, sitting on this same deck 6 months ago, dreaming about adding a second unit to the property, not for my parents, that chapter closed long ago, but for ourselves, for our future, just waiting on the contractor's estimate. I say, pulling up the email on my phone, the plan spread across my screen. A cozy one-bedroom with its own private deck, perfectly positioned to catch both sunrise and sunset. Our retirement nest eventually, for now, another space to share with travelers seeking their own mountain sanctuary. The notification banner slides down, new blog comment. I've stopped counting how many messages pour in each week, but this one catches my eye. A woman in Florida struggling to say no to her son's endless requests for money. Your story gave me the courage to finally close my checkbook. She writes, "Thank you for showing me I'm not alone." The blog started as therapy, really words spilling onto the page late at night when the weight of everything felt too heavy to carry. Alone, financial abuse, breaking free from family exploitation wasn't the catchiest title, but it was honest, raw, real. The comment section filled with stories that could have been my different names. Same patterns. The support group meets on Thursdays now. We gather in the community center downtown, sharing coffee and hard-won wisdom. Sometimes I speak, telling my story of mortgages and manipulation of houses given away and boundaries finally found. More often I listen, recognizing the tremor in voices still learning to say no, still discovering that love shouldn't require a credit check. My phone chimes again, another wedding invitation, this time from my cousin Rachel. The envelope sits unopened on my desk, cream-colored paper, heavy with expectations. Last week I would have agonized over the response today. I click, decline without hesitation. The weekend of her wedding, Daniel and I will be hosting our chosen family friends who've become more than blood ever was for our annual mountain retreat. A fresh breeze carries the scent of pine through the open French doors inside. Morning light catches the new photos on our mantel. No more formal portraits with forced smiles and hidden resentments. Instead, snapshots of joy, Daniel and me, hiking the Continental Divide, Sunday brunches with our hiking group, teaching our friends' kids to make s'mores around the fire pit. The certified letter arrived 6 months ago. I recognized Evelyn's handwriting immediately. The same swooping letters that once signed birthday cards, permission slips, mortgage checks inside $50,000, and 3 pages of apology. The money went straight to a new foundation supporting victims of financial abuse. The letter that I kept, not displayed like a trophy but tucked away in my desk drawer. A reminder that sometimes the hardest choices lead us exactly where we need to be. The wedding photo no longer hangs above the fireplace. I burned it last winter, watching the flames consume that evelynant of champagne and betrayal, the ash scattered in the wind, carrying away the last threads of obligation in its place. A canvas print captures last Thanksgiving, our chosen family squeezed around our dining table, mismatched chairs and borrowed plates. Laughter caught in mid-evelynant, standing at the kitchen island. I scroll through messages from the support group members, a woman celebrating 6 months of no contact with her manipulative brother, another sharing resources about financial recovery after familial fraud, a third asking for advice about setting boundaries with aging parents. My fingers hover over the keyboard, remembering my own journey from enabler to advocate. Start small, I type. Every note builds strength for the next one. Your worth isn't measured by how much you give away. The morning sun climbs higher, warming the deck boards beneath my bare feet. Daniel's hand settles on my shoulder, solid and steady as the mountains themselves below us. Denver sprawls toward the horizon, but up here the air tastes clean, fresh, free. The architect's ready, he says softly. I close my laptop, leaving behind the stories of struggle and survival. Today, we build something new, something ours. The future stretches before us, like the endless Colorado sky, no longer shadowed by guilt or obligation. Sometimes the family you choose becomes the family you deserve. Sometimes the hardest boundaries lead to the softest landings. Sometimes letting go of the weight you've carried lets you finally spread your wings and fly. The hummingbirds return, dancing through the morning light. I watch them. Hover, dart, soar away toward the distant peaks. Free as I am free, strong as I have become strong, ready at last to write the next chapter of my own.